Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome award-winning, multi-platinum country music icon and star of the upcoming Fox series Monarch, Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.
The following is an All-Star 15 TV production.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to All-Star 15 TV. On the broadcast tonight, it is the TranService Truck Series with the Sim500 Esports Group. We're live from Richmond Raceway. Let's get to the wonderful people I have in the broadcast booth with me tonight, starting with Mr. Crew Chief himself, Gary Wells.
Yeah, AJ, it's fun to be here tonight for Sim500. Of course, we've got the season finale, regular season finale for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series tonight. Richmond, known as the action track. We're going to see a lot of action here tonight, I think. These drivers are definitely got their hands full so far in practice with how these trucks are driving, so should be a good time.
And Mr. Chicago Blackhawk fan himself, it's Mike Campigio. No kidding.
Hey, AJ, Gary, glad to be here tonight. Super excited to see what the regular season finales has in store for us. So I'm excited to see what goes on tonight.
Well, Gary, before we get into it, we like doing the tale of the tape. What do we got here from Richmond Raceway?
Well, we got a lot of consistency with Richmond Raceway. It seems like the typical short track outside of Bristol that we go to, we average anywhere from 4 to 7 cautions per race here. About 6 leaders and about 6 to 8 lead changes per race. That seems to be the magic number here around Richmond Raceway. About 140 to 150 laps they run here on average. The last 3 races here, the guy that has led the most laps has finished outside the top 10. And a couple people outside the top 15. The pole sitter hasn't won. So that's going to be interesting. Mostly the furthest back the winner has started is 13th. That's with Trey Eidson back in 2020 and led 35 laps of that race. So if you've started around in the top 15, you should be good to go with winner's pace tonight.
All right, Mike. Well, it's the first time this season we are at Richmond Raceway, but Gary just ran down the tail of the tape. What are your comments off of that? What do you think you're going to see from years past to tonight?
Well, if we're going to go off the average of yellows, we're going to see a handful of yellows tonight. I think, some of the keys, I think, for racing tonight is these guys are going to have to really manage your tires, manage your temper, too, because, short track racing, going to bring out the tempers, track position late in the race too. That's going to be a big key that I'm looking forward to as well, just because, of the dirty air that these trucks give out in the, when they're racing side by side and behind each other. And the other thing I'm looking for is if we want to call any action spots on the track, it's going to be off of turn 2 and turn 4. Turn 4, the trucks really want to break loose with this Makoni setup. And turn 2, it really wants to get tight toward that outside wall. So those are 2 spots I think we really need to watch tonight.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of action come out of those spots, like you were just mentioning, just in practice alone. Gary, you were mentioning that they're trying to rubber in that center groove. How do you think that's going to fare when we get to qualifying and into the race about that middle groove?
Well, I think for qualifying, you're going to want to see these guys paint that yellow line. If you could paint that yellow line all the way around this place in the corners, you're going to lay down some really fast lap times. That middle lane, I've noticed that a lot of guys have been driving up there, to put some rubber down, but I've also think they've been missing their braking point going into the corners here. The truck can feel a little bit loose or a little bit tight on entry, depending on how you attack the corner, and it causes you to slide up the racetrack. So it could be really good up there to defend early on in a tire run and after a start and a restart, but really, you really want to keep it down on the bottom tonight.
Yeah, as practice is over, and we are basically getting ready to see qualifying, seeing what they're going to run. And everybody, thank you for tuning in on this Wednesday evening. Hopefully your week is going by nice and smooth so far. The Rotten Carrot subscribing on YouTube, and it looks like we got another one, Gary.
What you mean?
We got another subscriber.
Oh, and hey, look at that.
I think it's a new driver as well. You have any background on Mac?
I do not.
Darn, I set you up to hit a home run, and I was like, oh, it sounds like you know who this is.
No, I've never seen him before. I'm just gonna be honest.
Well, it should be fun. Thank you, Kevin Stone, as always, hitting that share button on Facebook. This is going to be interesting. You're looking at Joe Hudson down the back straightaway. Ooh, he's running that high line. Diming it off the turn.
Yeah, and the main thing you want to get to is that drive off of the exit. The straighter you can drive off of these corners, the better off you're going to be.
Ooh, a little wiggle off of 2. That's going to hurt his time just a little bit.
Could be. Let's see how he recovers here in 3 and 4. Running the bottom lane pretty decently. Rounding turn 4. Put a lot of yaw into it on exit. And he actually picked up a half a second. But I think those errors, to your point, if he wouldn't have messed up there in 1 and 2, and if he wouldn't have messed up at the exit of 4, we could be talking about a guy that ran a 21-something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Chad Coleman just lost it off turn 4 in qualifying here, boys. And he just went back to pit road.
Yeah, what's good is he's going to be able to hit pit road and at least get 1 lap in. Just 1. As Hamish Gallagher is going to go to the point, a 21.97. Roger Strickland.
Oh, he's breaking loose.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, he's going to be last on that lap.
Well,
that was his first lap, and the second lap didn't count.
Jeff Ryan crossing the line. First lap, going to go 15th. Chad Coleman. Let's see how this works. Now,
Yeah,
Gary,
we usually will see these guys pick up a few tenths of a second from lap 1 to lap 2 if they do it right.
so if they mess up one of their laps, do they basically take that tire wear and go back to pit road and retry it, or do they give them brand new tires?
Now that I don't know. That is a good question.
Coleman's going to go 13th overall. EJ O'Rourke on the racetrack coming out of turn 4, heading to the line. That number 41 Chevy Silverado P7.
I do know that typically if they mess up during their warm-up lap, they do get a chance to redo the qualifying effort again, as long as they didn't hit the start-finish line. But if you started your qualifying run and you spin out, say you spin out coming off a 2 on your first timed lap, you can reset and go back to pit road. So it'll throw your first lap away, but then that second lap is all more important as well.
Brian Macklin, his first lap, good for P17 of 22.29. Looks pretty solid on this lap. Hopefully I didn't just jinx him. Coming out of turn 4 now. Looks very steady to the line. Brian Macklin is P1.
That was
21.96.
Yeah, he gets that pole by 3 1,000ths of a second. Brian Macklin ran a 21.964. Hamish Gallagher ran a 21.967. So, game of inches is on full display there when it comes to qualifying here at Richmond.
All right. We got Karlovich on the racetrack right now. His first lap, good for 21st. Let's see if he can improve off of that 23. So, never mind. He's 100% going to do it. A 22.01. Wow. That was really good.
Yeah, and I think these guys, they're throwing their first lap away, get some heat in those tires, and just getting a feel for the track and what it's going to do. So we got Brian Wortman here making his qualifying attempt. Yeah, you're really going to see the guys go slowly that first lap, and that second lap is where they're really going to show it, as Brian Wortman got loose there off of 2, it looks like.
And he's trying to get it to stick. He's really trying to get it to stick. And out of turn 4, I don't know if he's going to improve.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was going to improve there at all. So, yeah, 22.33, we'll take that for his first lap. Can't talk down on Brian too much, though. In the late model series they run here, I think with Sim500 World in association with Goat Racing, he ran top 5 at Texas the other night in a super late model. So he was able to get his first top 5 in a few months in Sim500 and did a pretty good job.
All right, everybody. Well, we got that minute of warm-up. We're going to take it to a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll hit you with the lineup here at Richmond Raceway.
From Mortar to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.
All right, everybody, they are gritting. We are getting ready. And let's run down the starting lineup for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series race here from Richmond Raceway. Well, there's the race info, so we'll get into that in just a second. Let's hit the grid. All right, starting P number 1, Brian Macklin, and outside pole, it's Hamish Gallagher. Your row number 2, it's Nelson Rivera, Mac McMillan. Row 3, Tyler Dalton, John Swinehart. Row 4, Pedro Mojica, Jason Karlovich. And row 5, EJ O'Rourke and Glenn Campbell. Gary, take us to 20.
All right, row 6, we've got Tommy Ryan and Wesley Donaldson. Row 7, we've got Joe Hudson and Robert Frieri. Row 8 is going to be Scott Simley and Chad Coleman. Row number 9 is going to be Jeff Ryan and Kevin Stone. And rounding out row number 10 is going to be Byron Daly and Brian Wortman. Campigio, take us home.
Roll number 11 is Brian Wortman and Mike Kelly. And roll 12 is Roger Strickland and Josh Parker. And roll 13, we have Joey Katina and Steve Ritter. And rounding out the field on the last row is Doug Sigmund and Gerald Livingston.
Well, I kind of gave you guys a little look in on some of the race info. Well, here it is. The track temperature right now is 79 degrees. It is just under 3/4 of a mile. But Gary, how difficult is a racetrack like this where both corners are completely different and it's a short track? So before we get going, give us a little bit of a inkling on Richmond and the difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is the same as the banking on the corners. It's really about it. Turns 1 and 2 entry is way different than 3 and 4, so they're going to have their hands full here tonight.
And there it is, green flag in the air, and we are live from Richmond Raceway. Macklin's going to cross the start-finish line on the inside. He's going to bring Nelson Rivera right along with him as they enter Turn 1 for the first time.
Looks like so far everybody's making it through turns 1 and 2. Everybody makes it clean through 1 and 2. Let's see how they do in 3 and 4 here.
So far, so good through the field. Looks like Nelson Rivera early on trying to challenge the race leader Macklin as they enter Turn 1 again. But you got to go right behind him. John Swinehart to the inside of the 13 of Hamish Gallagher, who started on that front row, stuck on that outside.
Yeah, he's been able to defend a little bit. Nelson has been pretty fast in practice. I believe he laid
Joey
down
Gattina with an issue. Joey Gattina with an issue.
Uh-oh.
Oh, not Joey.
And he's going to have to jump the pit road.
Yeah, Joey's not needing those issues here tonight. He's not quite on the bubble, but he definitely needs a good finish to survive. Got surprisingly caution. But he's able to get that back going and get back into the race, hopefully. That's definitely not the way you want to start, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially with how tight that 18th position per point is.
Well, I'm not picking Joey team anymore, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, we didn't even talk about our picks.
Well, let's
Capuccio, go ahead.
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot. Let's go with John Schweikart. I think John's gonna get it done and have a really good run again tonight. Gary, to you.
Joey Gattina. I don't need to say anymore. Go ahead, AJ.
I'm going to take the driver that started P2, Hamish Gallagher, who's currently running in that third position, being able to hold on now that he's got to that inside lane, and right now looking like a strong Toyota Tundra.
Yeah, definitely got a good-looking truck so far. Nelson has been one of the fastest guys in practice. Macklin was pretty fast. And Hamish did have decent speed. Definitely didn't have the one-lap speed, but surprised me with his qualifying attempt. He's going to be one to watch, I think, as we get into the long run, is going to be that 22 and that 13 to see how they compare to the 30. Yeah, like we've seen already, guys. I mean, pretty much single file throughout the top 15. I mean, pretty much the whole field.
Now we're going 3 wide. EJ O'Rourke went way up the racetrack in turn 1 and 2.
I lied.
He went way up the track, and they were 3 wide with him and Glenn Campbell right there.
It's not quite ready up there yet, but he's going to give it a try, that old high side up there. We've seen it work before, but with there being no rubber up there, it's going to be tough to maintain your time.
Oh, Tommy Ryan is loose. He's spinning up the track.
Yellow flag is
We
out.
have a crash, and the caution is out.
Wow, nobody hit him. Good job. I think he got loose under braking.
Yeah, we're going to see that a lot here tonight. Talking to just kind of go off of that, as we're going to see the replay here with Tommy Ryan going into the corner, and
Oh, I was wrong. He got hit in the back end, it looked like.
yeah, he had a lot of help there with Robert Fieri. And right there, the truck is just very light as you're under braking, getting ready to get that truck to load going into the corner, and just got bopped from behind by that 77 there. Able to save it, though. Nobody else hit him. And that truck still looks pretty clean. But
A lot of people came close to hitting him, though.
I don't care how talented of a driver you are. If you get hit from right there at the entry to the corner like that, nobody's saving that. Not even Scott Ramler's saving that.
Or Dale Jr. after getting clocked by Kyle Busch.
That's true, too.
That's a nice callback right there.
That was a good one there.
Yeah. As I'm doing the congratulations knuckle shake. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy for that pull.
Right.
And when you're Tommy Ryan and you're sitting there after you spun, waiting for all these guys to go by you, you're just sitting there like, please don't anybody hit me. Please don't anybody hit me.
Yeah, that'll completely end your night right there. And while he has just a tad bit of right rear damage, that's it. And we're at a short track. That really doesn't matter. But he did probably flat spot those tires. So, they do have 3 sets in the pits. Are you guys expecting him to possibly come down pit road and take tires?
Potentially, but honestly, getting the tires heated up like that, as long as he didn't slide them too bad, he should be okay.
Yeah,
They can make about 100 laps on fuel here, so it's definitely a one-stop race for fuel. Tires will definitely be the story tonight, because we've noticed here at Richmond the last few races, whether it's iRacing or in the real world, the tires just fall off like a cliff after about 15-20 laps. So
Yeah, and he's going to stay out.
Yeah, he is going to stay out. There were a couple of takers. You had Brian come in. Joe Hudson went in as well. Gerald Livingston, Doug Sigmund. Of course, Joey's been struggling here tonight. Already 5 laps down in last. But, I mean, it's just kind of, you go with the flow kind of thing tonight.
He should be eligible for the lucky dog or the free pass, obviously.
I think he was 6 down, so he went back down to 5. So.
Hey, all they need is a couple more cautions before the leaders start putting vehicles lap down, and he'll be sitting pretty.
Yeah, if he can get a couple lucky dogs and a couple wave arounds and able to change up his strategy a little bit, he should be right back in the ball game. If he could get everything done by about 40 to go, and he's on the lead lap with 40 to go, look out for Gattina, because he always seems to be a threat and running about top 10 every week.
Yeah, he has really come alive the last, I'd say, 10 races for the TranService Truck Series right here on All-Star 15 TV. Shameless plug.
And he was able to capitalize that too, AJ, on this channel with the win at Daytona, and not a whole lot of people can say that.
No, they cannot. And it was one hell of a win. I don't normally cheer for drivers outside of the ones that I pick every week, but man, it felt good to see Mr. Sim500 Bossman get a win.
Yeah, anytime that you could see guys run really well, like Joey Katina, Brian Wortman, guys that, you know, we don't see them up front all the time, but, you know, that necessarily don't run bad either, and they can, you know, capitalize and get a really good run here and there. Always good to see that.
Well, the lights are off on the iRacing pace car. We're getting lined up again. Your front row, Brian Macklin, Nelson Rivera, Hamish Gallagher, and John Swinehart, row 2. Row 3, you have Jason Karlovich and Mac McMillan. I'm curious to see if the 22 of Rivera gets a launch almost identical to Hamish Gallagher on the start of this race. But yeah, let's see how that works, because the outside did not launch on the start of this race.
Green flag, green flag.
Well, and I think that's definitely a sign of things to come, AJ, as we see Brian Macklin get a hell of a jump there on that restart. The outside lane tends to struggle here on the restarts in particular. So being on the bottom, it seems like that's going to be the place to be here.
Yeah, well, Rivera around the outside in 1 and 2 is going to take second place. Very big power move from that 22.
Yeah, he's gonna, like I said tonight, he's definitely on a mission. This could be one of those races where Nelson could probably capitalize and get a win here tonight. I know he's doing decent in the points, but going into the playoffs, having an extra couple bonus points for winning a race never hurt anybody.
No, not at all. Got E.J. O'Rourke in the 41 on the outside of McMillan.
You know, he was able to make some good passes on the outside that last run, so I'm anxious to see if he can keep that up. One thing he'll have to be cautious of is the marbling that happens on the outside lane here at Richmond. If you hit those marbles, those little pellets of rubber that fall off of the tires of these trucks, you could feel like that you're driving on black ice.
Yes,
and that's not a good feeling.
He is staying to that outside. I think for a second there was a hole for him to get to that inside. He's really working it up there, and right behind him, looks like
he's got Pedro Mojica right there with him there. Good to see Pedro back behind the steering wheel again. Been a few weeks.
Looked like a different car, which it is. I was trying to figure out. So. I think that says the 58, and I'm like, but that's not his paint scheme.
Well, speaking of paint scheme, right behind Pedro is Wesley Donaldson. Wesley's running the new paint scheme tonight. It's a blue and black.
I think he heard us.
Yeah, I think he heard us from last week.
From his normal red and blue, he went blue and black on us, changing it up. But that, regardless, that truck does look good. Nelson Rivera moving his way up to the middle lane already, trying to see if he can get a run on that high side, get it going here, maybe try to pass Brian Macklin here.
Yeah, looking for a run. And that's basically how you got to do it. You know, you're going to try to get a really good exit out of the turns and try to make the pass, or at least get to the inside of the car in front of you by the start of the next turn. It's just looks like that 30 is just locked up right now.
Yeah, that 30 is looking really good right now. One of the main things you want to be able to do is drive straight off of these corners. And what I mean by that is having the wheel as straight as you can and not spin your tires. That's going to be really key as we get into these longer runs here. Because if you spin the tires, you're likely going to get loose. And when you get loose, you tend to spin, especially off of turn number 4 here. So these guys are really going to have to watch their rear tires as we get further and further into this run.
It's amazing how they can basically make the wheel go straight, but yet finishing the turn.
Yeah, it's incredible watching these guys do it. They do it really the best, and I try to emulate it, but I'm not very good at emulating.
You know, I was going to say the same thing, but I'm happy you said that, but you are significantly a better race car driver than I am. Hence why I started All-Star 15 TV. But I love hearing the engine noises coming from Nelson Rivera. You hear a lot of off-throttle time.
Yeah, really the main thing here, getting through the corners, especially at Richmond, is just getting that truck to rotate. And it seems like it really happens a lot under braking and then just letting that truck just coast through the corner. The more it coasts through the corner, you're going to be in really good shape. Also saves you a little fuel and saves you a little tires too.
Gonna drop back a little bit further, all the way to 11th. Glenn Campbell to the outside of Wesley Donaldson. And right in front of me got Tyler Dalton in the 19 trying to work that outside as well.
I'll tell you one thing, guys. EJ O'Rourke is making this third lane somewhat work every single lap. He goes up way high in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but he comes off 2 and 4 very straight, and he's laying down the rubber up there in that third lane.
He really is. And I mean, he's gained 4 spots out of it, so to say he's ran terrible or it's not working, can't really say that because he's pretty much been doing that since the start of this race here. But one thing he'll have to watch out for is that while he is laying rubber down, he is also paying the price a little bit, so he might have to start changing it up here if he wants to keep the tires on this truck for 100 laps. And we've seen here time and time again with Sim500, it seems like at the beginning of the race they get a caution or two, but then right in the middle of the race is when we see the best racing action here this league is known for, and a lot of long green flag runs.
Ooh, Karlovich, and something with that 60 is really not working well for Jason right now. You know, he's down 3 positions, stuck on that outside. It looks like he just can't, you know, get through these turns. It look really tight of a truck right now.
Yeah, he just doesn't look comfortable. I kind of was noticing that too, AJ. It seems like he's just not comfortable running that mid to higher lane, so he's definitely trying to see if he can find a hole to get to the inside.
Well, even on the I know it's curved, but the front stretch, he is shaking that truck. Like, look at the wheel. You know, it's bouncing.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting the wheel a little bit, which is normal here at Richmond, especially off of turn number 2 as it flattens out from underneath you.
But he went way high.
He's definitely fighting that truck right now. I like I said, I just got the wall. He got the wall, but he's got momentum too. Doing the crossover there on Chad Coleman. And, he looked a little bit loose there off of turn number 2. Yeah, he's, I'm not sure what he's got going on. I don't think it's anything mechanical. I think it's just a matter of comfortability. And that's what you really want with your driver here at Richmond. You want him to be comfortable, be able to get through these corners. The smoother you can drive here, the faster you're going to be.
So we currently have 26 out of our 27 drivers on that lead lap, and they're gapped by 10 seconds. We're already 30 laps into this.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of how it goes. They're about a half lap down. Are you saying they've fallen off 3 seconds already from?
No. We're 30 laps in from first to 26th. There's a 10-second gap, but we really haven't fallen off a lot. Looked like we had a caution on lap. What was that? 9 or 8? Sorry, lap. And
lap 8, lap 9, yeah, around in there. Yeah.
So they've been green for about another 20 laps, and they've only fallen off about 0.7.
Yeah, I mean they haven't been falling off too bad. I mean from Wortman's last lap to the latest lap he ran, he's only fallen off half a second, so he's really been taking care of his tires. I'm just looking at Wortman as the example. But as he's sitting the start-finish line now, I believe the leader is just now halfway down the backstretch. So
heading into turn 3 right now. And let me show you guys with that track map. Look at that. That's the difference.
That's about half a track or length right there from the back of the field to the front of the field.
Yep, and it's only going to get more from there, I think.
Now, Southern Havoc Gaming in the YouTube chat, which, guys, we have a chat. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, use it. We love to hear from you guys. He mentioned something very, very true, and I'm kind of excited to see it.
Gallagher. Oh, he came right down in front of Tyler Dalton. I think Tyler got a little bit of piece of that.
Tyler definitely got a piece of that. He's got a banged up rear end and right front fender. Let's take a look at it here on the replay. He needs some major help from EJ O'Rourke right there.
That was almost a carbon. I was gonna say that was almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the first yellow.
Yeah, it sure was.
There was not much damage can do there.
Want to lose his track position right there, but at some point you just gotta say you gotta lock it up and take 4 tires. Which I think we will see a lot of pit stops here, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, not a whole lot of place for Tyler to go. I think he was anticipating for Hamish to stay up there, but that
It's the view
didn't
from
happen.
Hamish.
Yeah, definitely had some help. Definitely had some help. But EJ was braking a lot later in that corner because he could run the high side really well.
Oh, we got pit stops.
And Hamish was running the bottom a lot. But yeah, we do have a lot of pit stops here. Big feeding time here on pit road.
Smart move for Tyler Dalton right now. Has that damaged truck, gonna lead the lap, get the point, and probably coming down pit road to now get service just to lead that lap and get that extra point.
Yeah, and Gatina's going to go from 5 laps down to 4 laps down here, so that's definitely going to help his cause. Looks like Wortman was trying to do the same thing there in the 74, get a little extra TV time.
It looks
Not
like
going to be able to get the bonus point, though.
It looks like Tyler's missing a little bit of a fender on that front end.
He's also got some rear end damage too.
Yeah, he's got that rear end damage, and he's got some right front fender damage, which that's going to be common here, especially after an incident like similar to his. If he can come down pit road and repair that a little bit, at least the rear end portion of that damage, he's going to be fine. But I've noticed from personal experience when we were at IRP a couple weeks ago and in another league I was running the truck, it was kind of nice having no right front fender because you had a lot more air on that right front tire to be able to keep that cool. So the cooler you can keep your right front tire at these short tracks, the better off you're going to be.
Hey Jay, you want to bring up your point that you were gonna say, even though we cut in?
I kind of just wanted to see some lap traffic and how that would affect, our race leaders. And the minute I was getting that out, boom.
Caution.
But just so everybody knows, right now here on All-Star 15 TV, we are looking at 390 subscribers. We're trying to get to that 1,000, because once we get to that 1,000, we could start doing a little more fun stuff on the channel with some of our viewers, maybe some giveaways. But we have to hit that 1,000 mark first before we could have it integrated right into our YouTube page. So if you know anybody who likes auto racing on iRacing, send this to them. It's the Sim500 TranService.
1K.
Yeah, road to 1K. But you are watching the TranService Truck Series live on All-Star 15 TV. Thank you to all our sponsors in the description. Appreciate each and every one of you. Check out their links. But guys, we are 40 laps into this race. Second caution of the evening, and 90% of the race right now, racers right now, have come down, taken those 4 sets of tires, basically took 40 laps, threw them out the window, new set. As lights are off on the iRacing pace car, we're lining up again, and look at that front row, Gary. Mr. Outside himself, EJ O'Rourke.
Yeah, EJ was able to capitalize with a really good pit stop that time, and is going to be starting on the front row because of it, so good on him. We'll see how he does here once we get back to green. I'm curious to see if that high line is really going to work once he takes the lead.
Oh, we're going to find out.
If he gets
green.
A little bit of wheel spin on that outside lane.
Wheel spin, yeah, a lot of wheel spin there by the outside pole sitter there, EJ O'Rourke. But he's rebounded very nicely, AJ, at the exit of turn number 2.
Oh, we got trouble. Steve Rutter's around. Here we go. Multiple trucks are involved.
77 involved in this one. A few other trucks.
This is not Steve Ritter, it's Brian Daly. Sorry, they both have the same paint scheme. It almost look like it.
So who are we looking at first? That looks like it's Doug Sigmund right there.
The 6 and the 77 to me, but
Yeah, it was the 06 of Brian Daly.
yeah, okay, all right, yeah, it was the 06. Looks like he just gets loose. I can't tell if he had contact with anybody or
Holy
not.
Mike Kelly, Batman! Did you see that wreck avoidance from Mike Kelly?
He is one lucky son of a gun.
Well, I'm happy you said the gun part.
Let's get on board here with Mike Kelly. Oh, yeah,
Yikes!
06 just Yeah, the 06 it came out from underneath him there. And that's the thing that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of. That was just a classic case of cold tires there on the restart.
Yeah, and I think the last couple builds with iRacing, warming up your tires actually does something. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Gary?
It does. And it actually, scrubbing your tires on starts and restarts definitely does warm them up. But you got to be careful, too. If you scrub them too much, you start wearing them out, too. So gotta walk that fine line. And especially on a cooler night that we have here at Richmond Raceway, track temp being at 81 degrees, it did go up 2 degrees since the start of this race. And with it being 77, a little bit on the cooler side to what we're used to seeing here at Richmond. So definitely something to think about to maybe warm your tires up a couple laps before we go green.
Mike, we're under caution for the third time tonight. What do you think of having a racetrack like Richmond Raceway be the regular season finale to cut the field down starting next week?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I think ending the season, regular season on a short track is one of the ways to do it. NASCAR in real life used to do that with Richmond all the time until they changed their playoff format and track and schedule. So I think what they did to put this race as a regular season finale, I think it's very fitting.
Yeah, I like it. I like having short tracks in must basically win or finish well situations. And I think when we cross the line now, those lights are going to go off. No, we're going to have another lap. Here's me thinking that I counted right when it came to pace laps, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to show you guys the opening for the Nerds Who Nerd Things podcast. Check them out every Thursday on their channel.
From Mortar to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
All right, we are back here from Richmond Raceway. Final race of the regular seasons for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series. Adrian O'Rourke on the outside of leader Brian Macklin. Through 3 and 4, Pace Truck is going to dive to safety to pit road.
Green
again, 30 with a great restart. And Adrian O'Rourke cutting to the inside. What is this? What?
I never thought we'd see the day. Hell must have frozen over.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if he's run down there at all. He might not know how it feels like.
I don't think he has really either, but you could tell he kind of went to a middle lane, left just enough room for Nelson to try to make a move to the inside.
Jeff Ryan is spinning off 4. He's in the grass. Jeff Ryan.
And Jeff Ryan.
Holy cow. There's a bump down there?
He found it.
Did you know about that bump?
I did not know about that bump. He went bucking like a Bronco right there.
Sorry, guys.
I don't think he hit anything, which is good, but outside of... Here it is.
Hey, he went riding there. Well, there might be a turtle down there, you know, with the drainage there, so he might have hit that.
Oh, that reminds me of Kentucky. Not Kentucky. Is it Kentucky?
Charlotte. Edwards did that in the All-Star race?
No, I was more of thinking when Cole Custer ran over the manhole.
Well, that might have been Kentucky. If Scott Rambler was here, he could tell us, because he knows everything about that speedway.
Well, he was probably working that race.
He probably was. He probably saw it.
McMillan on the outside of Swinehart coming out of turn number 2. Ooh, Swinehart a little loose.
And EJ O'Rourke has gone side by side with the leader Macklin here off of 4. He's making that outside line work.
He is making that outside line work. He has decided not to run the very top and has come to a compromise here with the middle lane. So it's definitely working for him. But again, that straight drive off, you definitely have that better I think.
Oh,
as
Schweikart!
The yellow flag is out.
I know I said it.
Caution.
I know I said it earlier. Swinehart looks like he's getting loose, and well,
You called it.
he got loose. And it's funny, all these vehicles are getting loose if they have somebody to their outside. Is that just because they're getting pinched down?
Are you getting no air to your spoiler too? That's a factor.
That's another thing too. Even though it's a short track and aerodynamics don't matter as much, you're still going fast enough here where if you get that air taken off of your spoiler, you're going to feel it. And I think that's what the 01 was feeling right there. And excuse me, and a little bit of a pinch down from that 7. Definitely could cause you to get sideways there too, because that's right when you're trying to get back into the gas and you're hoping you can open up that exit so you're not completely turned to the left still on your wheel while trying to get back full throttle.
Well, we earned a caution here for the fourth time tonight. 54 laps in the books out of 140. Mike, what have you seen so far that has kind of stood out in your books here?
Well, what stood out to me is, I mean, these guys are running, the middle lane, and EJ at work is running that way high line. So it seems like we're getting 2 and possibly 3 grooves of racing, which to me is going to make this even more better as we get along here to the second half of this race and have 3 lanes of racing, which will be better for us and better for the fans at home.
Yeah, my opinion on, showing that third lane now, I know you want to get it rubbered in just a little bit, but the way the 41 of O'Rourke has been using that top line religiously, I feel like he just showed everybody, run up there. It works.
Well, it also depends, too, a little bit how your truck's doing and how comfortable you feel being up there, because not everybody can do, like, the high line or the third lane, It just depends on how you feel and the comfortability of your truck at that time.
Well, and funny you mentioned that. The prime example of that, we saw the 41 just ripping it on the high side. We saw Jason Karlovich earlier when he had to run the outside. It was like 2 completely different race trucks. They did not. One felt extremely comfortable. The other one did not feel comfortable at all. So I'm anxious to see if it's just a leader lane choice thing that the inside tends to work better, or if that outside lane is just trash overall. So I'm anxious to see if he does pick the outside EJ here, if it's just a lead thing or not.
Well, it looks like he's going to stay to the inside right now.
The lights are still on, so they haven't made lane choice yet.
But then again, he might just launch and then go straight to that outside because that inside lane has been launching very well.
Yeah, the inside lane's been launching very well, but for him, I mean, he's been running that outside lane all race, and that's what's great about Richmond. If you could get the outside lane to work, it works really well, and we've seen EJ do that time and time again here tonight, making that outer lanes work. But mostly where most people feel comfortable here, because it's not really testing much, is that outside lane, and he's been able to make it work while everybody else is running the inside.
That 19 looks brand new.
It does. It sure does. And he's got his damage all fixed up here, and he's ready to go at it again.
2 drivers currently laps down. Byron Daly 2 down. And it looks like Joey Gattina is out.
Yes, he just disconnected a little bit ago. I saw that.
Yeah,
pop up
due
on
to
my screen.
packet loss, so I think he's just trying to get back in. But yeah, EJ, to my surprise, picking the inside lane on the restart.
This is going to be interesting. We're going to actually jump on board with EJ for this restart to hear him get through the gears and how he's going to enter turn 1. I'm excited to see it. I don't know about you guys, but the way that 41 has been able to put that truck wherever he wants, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, scary fast.
Green, green, green.
Green flag in the air here.
Let's see, does he go immediately to that outside?
He
What'd
sure
I tell you?
does.
What did I tell you? I was right for
Well,
once.
Well, and he was able to run that inside lane on the exit, which, I mean, that gave him that straighter launch. And let's see what kind of whooping here he could put on these guys a little bit, because what he's been able to do with doing that straight drive off and diamonding the corner just a hair with a very, very late apex seems to work for him.
Yeah, and I don't know how far he's going to actually pull away. We know Macklin and Rivera are very fast, and Mojica, after his 2-week hiatus, coming back into that top 5. But then you have Glenn Campbell and Mac McMillan,
Karlovich off of 4. He's in the grass. Sorry about that, AJ. He about did the same thing Jeff Ryan did.
We have a crash. I'm just kidding.
He saved it.
We had a half a crash. At least he didn't come back onto the track and LePage the field.
Well, and we've talked about it time and time again, that exit in turn number 4 has been a tricky place here tonight. We haven't run, in my opinion, long enough to see the exit of 2 play its dividends, but that will come if we get a long run here. Here comes Macklin sending it into the inside. Not going to be able to get side by side with DJ, but he's trying.
Yeah, I don't know if Macklin is trying to just pass him, or he's just, if the 41 makes a mistake, I'll take it.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, too, like, EJ is really having to back up the corner to run the high side, where Brian and Nelson and all those guys can just really send it in there to run the bottom.
I'm going to back up a little bit further. It looks like Hamish Gallagher is fighting with Chad Coleman. You see more drivers working that middle lane to the outside. If it works for the leader, hey, maybe it'll work for me. It's Hamish Gallagher's going to pop the wall coming to the line. Scraping a little Taylor Swift off the side.
Hey, he's just, he's trying to feel the wall out like Ross Chastain did at Martinsville.
No kidding. And speaking of Hamish Gallagher, do you guys see Travis Kelce on that truck at all? See a lot of Taylor Swift.
I do not see.
Swiftie. And probably unashamedly so.
Yeah, and we still got that battle for the lead, but I kind of stick with it. I think Macklin is just there if O'Rourke makes a mistake. It's still early as he's going to pull just a nose, and that 41's still going to get the good launch off.
Yeah, I think we're really going to see what it comes down to is the launch on exit. If you could keep a launch on exit really, really strong, you're going to be in really good shape.
Ooh, and look at O'Rourke blocking that inside lane going into turn 3.
He's got to be a little bit defensive here. You can't just give the line all the time to the inside guys.
Oh, he's really, really coming down off the corners now.
This is a great battle up front, and if any of them make any sort of mistake, they have a whole cavalry behind them waiting to take their spot. You got Rivera in 3rd, Mojica 4th, 5th, Campbell, and they're all within a second to that race leader.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you look at Glenn Campbell, he's kind of been running EJ's line a little bit, running a little bit higher. I mean, it's working out okay for him, too, so... maybe I'm wrong here for once, and maybe we are starting to see multiple lines here at Richmond.
It would make the racing so much better as it is right now.
Yeah, and this is why it's known as the action track, right? We see a lot of action, a lot of side-by-side racing here. You do see your short track principles being applied with an occasional bump and run and that kind of thing, but, I mean, for the most part, short track Saturday night or short track Wednesday night, I guess.
Looks like Nelson's fallen back a spot, just got passed by Pedro Mojica. But let's talk about the biggest mover of the race so far. Sitting in that 9th position, started in 23rd. It's the 81 Chevy Silverado of Josh Parker.
Well, I think with Josh, he just likes, being the guy to get the hard charger every week. We don't see him qualify much, if at all, and he's one of those guys that just likes passing cars, and we see him do a lot of that.
Yeah, do we know if the Sim500 has a hard charger award?
I don't know, but he'd be in the running for it every week.
Right?
Looks like he's got a new paint scheme this week. Last few races he was running that degree paint scheme, but now he's running the Kyle Busch 3Chi paint scheme.
3Chi, that's right.
Yeah, with an extra 1 on it.
I'm surprised he doesn't have cheddars on there.
I do love me some cheddars, y'all. That place is good.
Eat your work, still your race leader, 72 laps in. Guys, we are past halfway.
Picking them up and putting them down tonight.
Pick it up. I'm just kidding.
I pick things up, I put them down.
Okay,
Planet
Arnold.
Fitness commercial. I know. If you know who I am, what the hell is Planet Fitness? Nelson Rivera.
Is that Jim?
Who's Jim? But Nelson Rivera still on that inside, and it looks like the way to go is that middle lane right now. I wasn't really expecting it, but wow, he just got passed by 2 drivers on that outside, and here comes a third.
Yeah, McMillan definitely making it work out there on that outside as well. Going to be credited with the 6th position at the line. Let's see if he can complete that pass on Nelson. But yeah, you really would expect to see this come in a long, long run, like maybe 30 or 40 laps into the run. I can't say how long this has been. I want to say...
It's been just under 40 laps.
Yeah, so, I mean, about 40 laps. This is about the time where we start to see drivers feel out all the grip that they can get and see if they can run high, run low, and see what works for them. So we're getting around that time where drivers are really starting to test the grip level of their truck, as we see Brian being so loyal to that inside lane, he's actually going to lead the lap.
Yeah, and just as a clarification, from first place all the way to 12th, they last pit on lap 37. There is a caution within the
yeah, there's a caution within
laps.
that, but they've been on these tires for about 40 laps, yeah.
And Macklin pulling away now. Could O'Rourke have burned those tires up being on that middle to outside lane?
Well, and that's the risk you take running up there. But I think Brian has just been a lot more patient with his truck, too. And that's just the thing with Brian. We've seen week in and week out with him. He always just seems to be very, very patient, very, very methodical in his driving. EJ able to defend pretty well. He went from the middle lane back up to that way outside lane, so maybe this will be the line that'll work out for him. We'll have to see, but he's able to defend pretty well, but this is exactly what Macklin wanted to see in his rearview mirror. These guys battling it out, side by side.
Yeah, he's hitting that diamond pretty well. It's worked. But you could see where he's losing time and where that 58 of Mojica is going to get him one of these laps. He goes way out.
And Pedro's been able to make that truck rotate in the center. And I think that's one of the biggest keys to getting around Richmond Raceway is just making sure that your truck rotates. Yeah, even Southern Havoc, Mike here agreeing with you that good old EJ might have burned up his tires here. So I think we're definitely starting to see that trend, but even if he has burned him up, he's still being able to defend really well, but I think he might have lost a little bit of his edge with that leading speed that he had.
Yeah, still sitting in that P2 and still running very well.
Yeah, but I mean, we've also seen guys that, they're really good for about 30 or 40 laps. Like, that's their window. That's when they're really good. And we've also seen guys here at Richmond where they're a little bit more patient and they're good for 40 to 80 laps, and then there's that select few people that can put the full fuel run together from the beginning to the end, and they can take the lead and run away with it late in the fuel run. So we haven't gotten to that point where we're late in the fuel run yet with the race here tonight, but if we get to that point, we're going to see a lot of good racing here.
So let's run through some of the drivers throughout the field. You have Nelson Rivera, who's minus 6 positions. He looks like he's really fighting that 22 truck, trying to stay within that top 10. Mike Kelly doing pretty good after that near miss on the back straightaway. He's currently in that 9th position on that inside. But then you have Hamish Gallagher right behind him, rebounding after that spin going into turn number 1, where kind of got the back wheels lifted off the ground and sent, where he collected Tyler Dalton. And speaking of Tyler Dalton, basically has a brand new race truck sitting 20th and making his way back up towards the front. His lap times are just a little bit slower than our race leader, but he is making good headway to get back up towards the front.
But if there's one thing that we've noticed with long runs here at Richmond here in the past, and I think Mike can take the words right out of my mouth, is what, Mike?
What is that?
Oh, you didn't
cautions,
know.
precautions?
No. It's hard to pass if we get a long run in here. Richmond is one of those places, and that's why we call it the action track. because there's so much side-by-side racing. It kind of reminds me of like if you're at Martinsville or you're at a New Hampshire, where you're at a flat or short track, and once things get strung out, you have to prepare your passes 3 to 5 laps in advance to make that pass, because it just takes forever to complete one here. With everybody having the same engine combination here, same horsepower, it makes it very, very difficult to complete a pass in a timely fashion.
Currently looking at the 7 of McMillan in that 5th position. Glenn Campbell to his outside, and Josh Parker right behind him. That 7's getting a little squirrely through the center and on the exit. He's been able to catch it the last couple laps, but those tires are basically gone right now.
Yeah, and he was kind of running in that middle lane too, where EJ was running, and those guys running that middle of the higher lane. So I think he's just trying to cool them off a little bit, see if he can muster up some grip again by running lower, and see if that pays off for him.
Ooh, looked like a weird exit out of turn 2. Gonna dive it back down to 3. Very, very short racetrack, only running about 22 seconds a lap.
Yeah, these guys have lost quite a bit of lap time here. I think, let's look at Mac, for example. His fastest lap was on lap 50 with a 22.25, and he just ran a 23.16, so about a second of fall off.
Looking for some battles throughout the racetrack. Swinehart, he had a spin too. Him and Hamish Gallagher right by each other. He has closed that gap to 10th by, looks like, almost a half a second within the last 4 laps. So he's moving. Looked like that 0-1 possibly saved a little bit of tire.
Yeah, and him and Hamish both have just been very patient getting back through this field and getting their track position back. And I think it's really worked out for them. And, you know, they've been a little bit more patient with their tires than the rest of the field. But you could definitely tell John is really in a mode right now and able to get around Hamish there. And I think Hamish knows that he's a little bit faster, so he's just going to let him burn his stuff up a little more until the tires start to even out a little bit more.
Now, we got to talk about it because it's got to be coming in the next, 15 to 20 laps. You got to be thinking about possibly coming down and grabbing tires. I know you talked about it pre-race, but they're screaming right now. Those Goodyear Eagles are screaming.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely screaming all over this racetrack. It's going to be interesting if they're wanting to play the fuel game and stay out, or if they're wanting to play the track position and the lap time game and take tires.
Oh, I didn't even think about not taking tires and just taking fuel. Oh, boy.
Well, if they've all pitted around lap 37, you could run about 100 laps on gas, and with the cautions that we've had, they've been able to save that to get to the end. Now, if we have a green-white checkered, that's where it might get a little sketchy with the maths, but as of right now, most of the field can make it on the tank of gas that they're on right now.
If you're asking me, I would want to get 4 tires. That's if you ask me. I would be screaming over the radio like, "We pitting? Can we short pit? Give me these tires."
Well, let me put this in perspective. You're going to take from the start of pit road to you leaving pit road, it's 50 seconds. You are going to lose 2.5 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah. With how slow pit road speed is, I believe we've got it here tonight at 40 miles an hour. So you are going to lose quite a bit of time coming into the pits. But with you being faster on track, you're also going to make that up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
You're also going to be in traffic, so once again, slowing you down. There's a lot of gambles that can happen tonight. I can't wait to see what they do.
if you pit, you are banking on it to stay green. If you stay out, you're that guy that's banking on a caution. Just as simple as that at that point.
See, this is why we have Gary, because Gary, nutshell, right there. Boom.
I try.
Or you could be the guy that pits, and then as soon as you pit, there's yellow come out, and then you're like, "Oh, there goes my race."
Well, Brian Macklin, your race leader, just shy of 100 laps. Pedro Mojica in second. Edra O'Rourke in third. Wesley Donaldson fourth. And Mac McMillan, newcomer here to the TranService Truck Series with the Sim500, running in that 5th position. Looking for 4th to the inside of Wesley Donaldson. Man, they got a nice 3-car battle here for this 4th position.
Yeah, and this is where the action track really comes to life. Look at the run that Josh Parker has, but in reality, he has nowhere to go right there to make it 3 wide or anything, because it's, you know, if you try to make a sudden move with how old these tires are, you're really going to be paying for it.
Whoa.
A little bit of contact there with the 7 out of exit turn number 2. Wes might have gotten into the wall as well, so getting pretty aggressive. And we're going to see that as this race continues to unfold here with about 40 to go. We're going to see a lot more contact and a lot more aggression, I think. We have not seen the final caution, I don't think.
I don't think so either. It's just, when is that going to happen? It's that simple. If we get it closer to 140, you're going to have people really throw some gambles out there. But if it happens right now, I feel like everybody just comes down and gets on the same page.
Oh, yeah. Now that we're at 40 to go, I think you're really going to see, if a caution comes out right now, you're going to see everybody get 4 tires. I think it's just as simple as that. We've run too long in this race. You're going to come in and get your 4 feel goods. Now, what will be interesting is, say we get a caution with 20 to go. That's where you might see the field split a little bit. Some might come in and take 2. Some might stay out. Some might come in and take 4. So it's really going to play into effect as the race continues to unfold when we get that caution and what the strategy is going to look like for the drivers.
Chad Coleman to the inside of Glenn Campbell for 7th position. Swinehart moving forward even more.
Yeah, and Glenn's been able to hang tough on that middle lane pretty much this entire run and defend really well. So he almost makes contact there with Chad. Chad almost getting up into him. Kind of anxious to see how both the 01 and the 2 pick through this traffic, because the 01, the 2, and the 13 have pretty much been around each other this entire run, making their way up through the field or just maintaining their stuff. So going to be interesting as you see Mike making a run on that 01. But going to be interesting how he picks through it. Looks like Glenn's, for the most part, has been able to keep that outside line going for John to want to stay there, but I don't think these guys are really moving. You know, they're just doing some hard racing side by side. If I was John, I might want to consider maybe running that 3rd lane for a couple laps, see if I can get something going up there. Maybe
for a second right there, I thought Swinehart was really about to put it 3 wide, but I'm right there with you. If you're stuck, you got to run a different lane.
Got to run a different lane. And to be honest with you, I thought he was going to try and stick it right in there too.
Oh, contact
sideways and keeps it straight. I think he had a little bit of help from the 13. But yeah, I thought we were going to see the 01 shoot the gap right there and make it work, but
oh, he might shoot the gap. Oh, I don't know. I thought he was going to shoot the gap right there too. He's looking.
Yeah, he's had a couple of opportunities, but I think he knows if he tries to shoot the gap, it could cause a wreck. So I think he's trying to play this as smart as he can and try to be patient. But we're getting to that point in the race where 35 laps to go, closing in on 30 to go. The patience is going to start to run out. And Chad, even a little bit himself, spinning the rear tires off the exit of 4, just got crazy sideways there.
But I mean,
and that's going to help him and that's only going to help the 44 to clear him. And now the 01's got to deal with him.
But you can tell that from the gap from this pack to up toward Donaldson, there is a massive gap between this pack and Donaldson.
Yeah, so these 2 right here have lost a lot of time to the leaders just by battling side by side this hard. So, and it's really going to cause a lot of the guys to catch up with this side-by-side racing. And then once somebody gets clear, like you said, Mike, they're going to have all that track to be able to focus on lap time and trying to get their way back up toward the front.
Yeah, it looks like Mike Kelly's going to... Oh, I thought he was about to... Swinehart.
What a move.
John.
Hits
and
the
he
elevator.
knew it, too. He had to, as soon as he cleared up, he knew he had to take that spot.
Wow,
yeah,
I didn't think he was clear.
Pulling his brains out here to get around the 44. And maybe not. He's been pretty quick, but yeah, like I said, 44's been running up top pretty much the extent of this run. So I think John just might have a little bit better tire. If he could just clear the 44, he's going to be in really good shape.
And look at the 44 trying to defend on that entry. He hugged the 01 just a little bit, and it's just going to
on the wall.
Yeah, made contact with the wall right there.
Well, Swinehart is clear now.
Yep, he's clear. So he got what he wanted. Schweikart here, clear, and now he's going to be setting his sights on that 81 there of Josh Parker.
Yeah, just about, what is that, a second and a quarter away, and oh my god, almost under a second already.
Yeah, John's got a really fast truck. He was just held up there by many, many laps by the 44 and the 38. I don't know if he's got enough truck left in it to get up and challenge for the lead, but, I mean, we've seen John on a roll the last month and a half, so, I mean, the speed has been there for that 01, finally got that first win, so he definitely has a lot of confidence.
Well, you want to hear the big difference between Schweikart and basically everybody else in that top 10?
Let's hear it.
About 16 lap fresher tires.
Well, and that also plays into a little bit of a factor as well. I mean, 16 laps around here is, well, I mean, it is what it is, 16 laps, right? But, I mean, that's less wear and tear on the tires as well. So it's going to play a little bit more of a factor. So we've seen the 653 of Roger Strickland. He's coming down pit road. I don't know if this is like a scheduled pit stop for him, but it looks like he's getting tires. Gonna be interesting to see if anybody falls in there with him. I don't think so, but you never know. EJ finally lost second place to Pedro. Pedro was finally able to complete that pass. These guys are really, really starting to hit that lap traffic, and EJ's under fire with Mac here.
Well, you're looking at Edro O'Rourke right now, Gary, and he is with a fight for that top 3 position with McMillan right now.
Yeah, with McMillan, and then also look at who's not too far behind, that 91 of Wes Donaldson. So he's right there with these guys. He's sitting in the catbird seat if anything were to happen, that's for sure.
Just remember, everybody, at the end of this race, the podium finishers do come and talk with us. So stay tuned to after the race. Well, we have a heck of a battle brewing. You know, not just with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th position. You know, we're keeping an eye on that 01 and the 81 as still Schweikart is running really decent lap times.
I wish we could show everybody like 3 or 4 races within the race that are happening right now, because there's a lot of battles going on around this racetrack.
Unfortunately, if I wanted to pull your stuff up, it would wipe out the window basically, and would just be a white canvas. Because I tried to do that I tried to do that Monday night, and there's like a security screen for it. Because if I tried to capture it on Discord, nope, that don't work. If I tried to capture it on Zoom, that don't work. Come on, iRacing, do better.
Well, there is a battle starting to brew here between the 15 and the 38. Looks like Chad is just falling back here, a little bit in a free fall right now. Burned up a lot of his stuff. And we saw him have a couple slides as the 22 and the 06 have a little bit of contact there.
Yeah, the 22 of Rivera got really close to the outside wall. I think he, like we talked about earlier, he got super tight.
That tightness right there, that's exactly what you were saying right there. That's what I was getting ready to say. It's just, you know, you're getting tight right there, and we're at that point in the run where that just is going to happen. As we've got 21 laps of racing to go here, about to be 20 to go.
And you're sitting there holding the wheel to the left, and that truck's still going up toward the wall, and you're just like, oh, please turn left.
Yeah, and there's really nothing a whole lot you could do other than setting yourself up better through the center and entry of the corner. Just getting out of that gas a little sooner and letting that truck roll just a little bit more. Really, the guy that's mastered that here tonight is the leader.
I mean,
not much more I can say about that.
As much as of a race car driver I am, you know, I know that always leaning helps. If you can lean into the turns, like here, I'll be here all week.
Well, I mean, if you had a motion rig, you could really lean into the corner.
But, you know, you mentioned Brian Macklin, the leader and everything. He is by far one of the fastest trucks on the racetrack, if not the fastest truck. A 2.2 second lead over second place Pedro Mojica.
Well, and I mean, he was 0.3 faster that last lap alone, so he's really been able to make some hay. But Pedro is also running in on some lap traffic as well. So while the 30 may have the clear track, and Pedro's having to complete and get through traffic, it might change here a little bit if Brian can catch some traffic here late, which I don't think he will. But if he does, that could be a really good opportunity for Pedro to start reeling him back in.
Yeah, and another thing we've also noticed with the Sim500 TranService Truck Series, they'll fight the leader with, losing a lap or not. They won't fight second or third place.
No, and I mean, you basically see that here in real life, too. They will give the leader hell trying to get lapped. But as soon as they see second or third place, like you said, it's just like, all right, go ahead, go this way. All right, letting you go here. Go on by. Like, they do not put up much of a fight at all.
Still looking at Pedro Mojica as he's trying to get by Jeff Ryan as they cross the start-finish line. He's going to clear him. Going to have a really nice entry to turn number 1, right down to that yellow line.
Oh, trouble turn 4 on the front straightaway. Tommy Ryan was sideways. He saved it. He's kept it going, but we almost had our caution flag right there.
Chaos!
We almost had the chaos.
Speaking of chaos, we have chaos merch. Go check out the Streamlabs link in the description. Yeah, no kidding. Mr. Chaos himself.
I can't say it as good as TJ.
Well, I appreciate that. He blows out my ears.
We'll need to get a sound of him sometime, just screaming that, so we can just push a button.
I have the soundboards of it. I do. I just haven't uploaded them yet. Oh boy, Schweikart has caught Parker and Donaldson. He's gonna pass Donaldson.
Well, he's gonna pass Donaldson like he's sitting there. Yeah, Josh was able to get around Wes right there pretty well. Yeah, so John setting sights on the top 5 here, maybe back-to-back top 5s. That'll be a good run for him, and that'll really set up his hopes, his confidence going into the playoffs. Was the biggest mover in the points last week at 7 spots, so that really helped out his cause. And I think with another good run here tonight, it's really going to help him even more. I think who it's really going to cost big time is Joey Katina. He might fall out of playoff contention here.
Which is unfortunate because this second half of the season, Joey Katina has been on an absolute tear. Ever since he won at Daytona, he has been on a tear.
Yeah, he's been real consistent. May not be top 5 or top 3 every week like we're used to seeing with some of these other guys, but anywhere from 8th to about 12th, that's about where he runs. He kind of runs like I do in the sim. Anywhere, if you run the top 10, but then for most of the race, and then you can find yourself with a 5th or 6th place by the end of the night because you've been able to be in the right position at the right time. That's really what you got to set yourself up for. And Joey Katina, in a nutshell, is able to do that week in and week out. Look at the traffic that EJ O'Rourke is having to go through right now. 3rd place, getting around the 74. Gonna have to get around the 77 and the 3. And the 81, the 7, the 01, they are just
and
right
Josh
here.
Parker's right there.
Everybody is all right under a blanket. This is insane racing that we're seeing here right now.
And with less than 10 laps to go, everybody, this race has flown by.
And this has really been the best battles we're seeing right here amongst the top 3.
Schweikart is 3 wide going into turn 1 here, way on the bottom.
It's go time. Got to do it. And Worman's trying to get out of the way, but even though this place is wider than Bristol and a little bit slower than Bristol, there's not a whole lot of places to hide still. See what the 41 does going into turn number 1, setting this up on Jeff Ryan here.
Oh, Parker to his back bumper.
Yeah, he is back bumper now. Oh,
he's going to try to stuff it.
3 wide, a little bit of contact, I think. Here comes Josh to the bottom.
Oh, he's 3 wide.
Trying to make it sick. He does, barely.
Parker was loose after those couple bumps.
Jeff, get out of the way. I know that's what they're saying right now in chat, I can imagine.
It's very difficult for that 3 to go anywhere right now.
Oh, by the way, twinsies. Look at the 3 and the 7. Only difference is the rim color.
I think the blue is a different shade too.
Maybe by just a fraction, not by much though.
Josh Parker running in that 3rd position.
Between the 1 and the 7. Look at this, guys. Running tight on each other, lap after lap.
Oh, Donaldson was going to stuff it in there.
Donaldson trying to stuff it in there.
Oh,
He gets loose. He also had some help from the 3.
He was trying his best to keep it off the Swinehart.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to wreck. And Brian just wants this thing to go green. I know he does.
Up by 4 seconds.
Putting on an absolute clinic. 3 laps to go here. I don't know. Can these guys go another 3 laps? I don't know. I really don't know. But look at Josh Parker. Finally was able to get around EJ there.
Now Mac is looking.
EJ by quite a bit.
Here comes Mac. Mac is all over the back bumper of EJ for 4th.
You got to give EJ a lot of credit for at least holding it this much.
Oh, yeah. But if he comes away with the top 5 here tonight, that's definitely nothing to shy away from or be upset about.
Go.
Yeah, coming to the end of this race here, guys. Like you said, it's flown by pretty fast. Again, Brian just able to put on a clinic and just outpacing everybody. White flag this time. 1 more lap to go. Sponsored by
Wrestling with
Nerds. I almost forgot.
Yeah, you're fine. It's good. You're good. But Brian Macklin, a 4.5 second lead down the back straightaway for the final time. The number 30 has won multiple times this season already, and to close out the regular season, Brian Macklin is going to win at Richmond Raceway.
Let's see what we got here for 5th. Coming off of turn 4, it's going to be Mac McMillan securing that top 5 as Swikart spins after the finish.
He really got up on it, trying to get that position.
He was trying, but your top 3 here, AJ, it's going to be Brian, Pedro, Josh, EJ in 4th, and then Mac coming home in 5th.
Yeah, newcomer Mac McMillan finishing in that 5th position. That's got to be very, very much a confidence booster for that number 7 for the rest of the season, you know, and trying to jumpstart what he's going to do for the next Sim500 TranService Truck Series season. But guys, what a hell of a race. Heck of a race. I'm excited to see what these playoffs are going to do. But before we get into talking about next week, let's talk to our race winner. It's the driver of the number 30. It's Brian Macklin. Brian, it's AJ in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, pal?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
We're doing pretty good. How about that ass whooping?
Man, I love this racetrack, and I knew if we got a green flag run in, I was going to be really good. That first run, I felt really good about it, and then we had that caution, and I was afraid we were getting ready to go into a spell of a whole bunch of cautions, but then we got back to green flag racing, and I love this racetrack. It's a rhythm track, and it's so much fun to drive, and I had a blast tonight.
It looked like it. You know, you mentioned on how much you love this racetrack, but our last caution happened around lap 55. You know, was there any tire saving? Was there any fuel saving going on from there to the finish?
Fuel, no. We knew we were going to make it to the end on fuel once we had that pit stop, the one pit stop that we did. Tires, absolutely. EJ, he went up and passed me, and I kind of like got snickered into his trap because I started trying to race him, and then I realized Pedro got the 3rd, and I was trying to back off a little bit, so I was trying to race him, but I was also trying to take care of the tires, and then finally him running the top wore his tires out, and I was able to get by him. And then for a long time, I just tried to maintain the gap over Pedro, whatever it was, 6-7 tenths of a second. And then his tires went away, and I was able to just cruise.
So next week we go to Talladega to start the playoffs here at the Sim500 TranService Truck Series. You know, you've been racing amazing all season. What's the plan of attack heading towards the start of the playoffs?
Well, Talladega is always scary when it's in the playoff race. So I'm going to be thankful that I have some bonus points to carry into that, and just really try to be smart. If you survive Talladega and just get a decent finish, then you can go and attack the rest of the tracks and probably be okay to advance through that first round. And then the real fun begins, because that's when we have to go win a championship.
All right, dude. Well, before we let you go and celebrate the win tonight, got any sponsors you want to thank before you go party?
Absolutely. I got to thank TranService, first of all, for being the title sponsor of the series. Got to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch, especially the ones where you come across the line first. Got to thank Personal Comfort for being my sponsor on Monday nights. The American Lung Association, I've mentioned them a lot. They're a big part of my family after my grandmother passed away. So anybody that's looking to make some donations, November is Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So definitely go and make a donation to the American Lung Association. And then obviously I've got the Navy on the truck. So all of our men and women that serve and keep us safe, definitely a big thanks to them.
Absolutely, and everybody here at All Star 15 TV shares that sentiment as well, pal. Well, congratulations, dude! Your third win of the season, of the regular season, comes here at Richmond Raceway. Can't wait to see what you do throughout the playoffs here, pal.
Yeah, we're gonna go try to win a couple more and win a championship.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. Keep it entertaining for us up in the booth. Thanks, Brian.
That's right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Let's talk to P2. Pedro Mojica. Gary, take it away.
All right. Well, Pedro, you started 8th, finished in 2nd here tonight. Pretty steady all night long, but man, Brian, I don't know what he had, if he had some extra grip hacks or something there, man, but able to just pull away there that last 90 lap run and was able to keep it together. Talk about your race here tonight.
Yeah, it was a good race, I'd say. As I've been out for a couple weeks on this deal, so wasn't too happy with qualifying. I kind of knew this track position was pretty big, especially it being a night race. Like, the further up front you were, the better off you were. So starting 8th wasn't really the best. So just had to kind of dig out of a small hole there. But yeah, I mean, where was it there at the beginning? You had a couple yellows, so we kind of figured, was able to gain a couple spots before we pitted, so I kind of got in a better position. And then when we came out of the pits, just ran hard, man. Running the top, and then get a couple yellows and a couple restarts would move up. And I guess there, the last restart, I was 4th and had to work my way around Nelson and had to work pretty hard to get around EJ. And once I got there, I was just kind of stuck, man, because back then we were running about the same times, and he didn't have to fight off, EJ as hard or fight EJ as hard for the lead, and then he didn't have to pass another truck like I did. So I think just running as hard as I did and doing what I was doing, moving up the track, diamonding the track, trying to get big runs off the corner, I think just hurt the tires a little bit more. So by the time, I got to 2nd, I didn't really have anything for Macklin. So, and, he had got the clean air and just was rolling the bottom. So just preserving his tires better than, everybody else could.
Yeah, I mean, clean air definitely proved to be king here tonight. Talladega next week. It's always kind of a crapshoot, but we go to Dega. I think your chances of winning are probably as even as the rest of the field, but talk about round 1 of the playoffs next week, Talladega.
Yeah, I think big thing is just making sure you have a decent start to the playoffs and just not, don't get wrecked there and hopefully not finish 20th and have to dig yourself out of a hole. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think, anybody can win it, of course. It's just going to come down to, if you get caught up in the big one or not, it's most likely going to happen. So you just want to make sure not to get caught up in that wreck and come out of there with a good finish so you can go on the rest of the first round and feeling a little bit comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 2nd place here tonight. Solid run for you. Good points tonight to secure yourself into the playoffs here. Not that you've already not done that already, but here we are nonetheless. Any final thoughts or thank yous, love yous to anybody you want to give out there tonight for P2?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys for putting on the broadcast. Appreciate all the admins at Sim500, everything they do. Appreciate TranService for sponsoring the series, and they also sponsor me on the Cup and Xfinity side, so appreciate them. Glenn Campbell for everything they do for the league. All the guys on Team Name, always have a lot of fun with them guys racing. Congrats to Macklin. He's a good racer, man. I never had issues with him. I enjoy racing him, so congrats to him. And yeah, I appreciate the family for letting me come down and hang out for a couple hours.
All right. Well, absolutely. Well, thanks a lot for being here and showing up, and we'll see you next week at Talladega, and good luck to you in the playoffs.
All right, thanks.
All right, that was second
Oh,
place finisher Pedro Mojica. Mike Campigio, you ready for P3?
Yes, Josh, it's Mike in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Josh. What a race for you tonight, starting from 23rd position all the way to P3. We saw you making a lot of moves from the back of the field all the way to the front of the field. Talk about your race overall.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun. I'm not really running for points, so it was just that's why I usually like to start in the back. So it was just it was fun to kind of suck. We went yellow, green there. Needed a yellow to kind of regroup, but um, can't be pissed about us in third place.
As you were mentioning that you weren't running for points, and as we're getting to the playoffs next week at Talladega, give me your overall thoughts on Talladega, and if see how many races you think you can be the playoff spoilers. They talk about it.
Um, I don't know. I'm gonna be if I mean I might not be here. I hope so. Wednesdays aren't really. It's just if I'm around, I'll run. But if I do run, I will definitely probably be aggressive and just have fun with it. Like I said, it's we're racing there on Monday, but in the Premier Series, so it will be good practice. So I'll just definitely will be aggressive.
As you should be, because Talladega, you need to be aggressive there at Talladega. Before we let you get out of here to celebrate your P3 finish, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, you guys doing the broadcast, everyone Sim500, everyone at Team Name, Pedro, Macklin on the win, Chad, uh, Byron showing up. It's always fun to have Byron. Yeah, just everybody.
Well, Josh, congratulations again on your P3 finish, and if we see you next week at Talladega, we will catch you then, all right?
All right, see you guys.
All right, that was P3 Josh Parker. Guys, great race tonight. It was a lot of fun to broadcast, a lot of battles, a lot of great battles. Thank you to everybody for tuning in All-Star 15 TV. We'll be back next week for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series at Talladega to start the playoffs. Guys, great job broadcasting with you, and as always, it's been a lot of fun. But for all... go ahead.
I was just going to say goodbye.
Bring on the playoffs. Bring on the playoffs.
Absolutely. Bring it on, and let's do it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Peace.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.